New Mexico, it's Thursday. We are here at the U Sports Report to give you a rundown on what has happened and what's about to happen in the world of sports. Hanging out with Kimberly Temple, I'm Khalil Akolona. Kimberly, how is it going?
It's going pretty great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited for the weekend. It's going to be jam-packed full of exciting sports.
Oh, it is. It always is. But first, folks, a public service announcement. We do you the honor of putting our phones on silent or vibrate. We would love it if you would do us the same honor for the remainder of the episode. Obviously, we know you love us on social media, so send us some messages, but you don't need sound for that.
You know, you can tweet us, you can Facebook like us, anything you want to do. We'll just hook it up. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so we have exciting, hot playoff action going on, particularly in the NHL, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely going crazy. We're going to take you around the nation as we get you caught up on the highlights and the games that have taken place this week. Starting off, the Washington Capitals versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. This was Game 6. Washington has been choking for years. They have been wasting the talent of Alex Ovechkin. What are they going to do, Kimberly?
You know, we talked about this on Tuesday. Washington gets into the playoffs and they choke. They seem to forget where they are or the importance of these games. But in this series alone, Pittsburgh seems to be Washington's kryptonite.
Absolutely Washington's kryptonite. And if Alex Ovechkin is Superman, Sidney Crosby is his Lex Luthor, but with much, much better hair. As you can see, Washington went up 3-0. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh went up 3-0. There we go. We have the Williams goal coming in to make it 3-1. These guys were really fighting hard to come back and to survive. Look, this is the playoffs. Every game in every series could be your last, and every game is of utmost importance. What were these guys able to do to pull it off?
You know, Pittsburgh in this series has shown great dominance over Washington. Washington's a young team, and we talked about this before the show, that they've had one of the best records in the regular season prior to the playoffs, but somehow Pittsburgh came into this playoff series against Washington and took over. They haven't let Washington have a breath.
Not at all, and that last breath was taken with that overtime goal from Boneas as the game winner. Yes, Pittsburgh wins 4-3. They win the series. They move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, ready to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The first game of that series is on Friday. The winner of that series goes on in the NHL Finals to play for the Stanley Cup. Okay, in other games we have going on, we've got the Nashville Predators taking on the San Jose Sharks on Thursday.
Yes.
That is another pivotal Game 7. Thursday happens to be tonight, guys. Tonight. Tune in to see who wins that one. In other news, look, Dallas Cowboys fans are sad because they really can't win in the playoffs. And now they're even going to be worse off because the Stars can't win in the playoffs. Not only can they not win in the playoffs, they got blown out, guys. 6-1. 6-1 got blown out Game 7 at home. I've got a friend of mine who is a really tight Dallas Stars fan. He came into the bar where I work at to watch the game. We didn't have that channel, fortunately, for him because he kept looking at the score and he kept ordering more and more beers.
You know, with Dallas losing to St. Louis 6-1, this doesn't happen in hockey, especially in the playoffs, as often as people might think. A 6-1 loss for Dallas's ego, I'm sure, is detrimental.
It's really going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them and the Capitals to bounce back in the offseason to see what they can do next season. But hey, you always have next year. Will you make it past that? Okay, moving on to the NBA playoffs. Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Look, this is actually the best series of the playoffs thus far. Home court advantage means nothing. These teams are playing tough. Now, we can say that the NBA has had some questionable calls in the beginning, but you know what's not questionable? That forceful, manly dunk coming from Kawhi Leonard, posterizing Mr. Russell Westbrook. How often does that happen?
Not often enough, Khalil. Not often enough.
Ooh.
I'm disappointed in San Antonio in this series because I have a couple friends, shout out to Kirby in Seattle, that love San Antonio, that believe that they are like the almighty. We thought at the beginning of this series that San Antonio would be the king of this entire series.
That's true.
We were even thinking maybe making it all the way, but Now I'm not so sure.
It's not really looking like that, you know. This game in the last few seconds was some controversial calls, but really, ladies and gentlemen, the last 2 minutes of this game turned into the Russell Westbrook show. As evidenced here on the inbound pass, Russell Westbrook drives to the lane, gets a nice layup, 2 of his game-high 35 points. This young man went off. Possibly, he is going to put the team on his back, as they say, and lead them at least to the Western Conference Finals, where it looks like they're going to play the Golden State Warriors. This was absolutely a very tight game. Oklahoma City Thunder win 95-91. Take a 3-2 lead, ladies and gentlemen, in that game. Game 6 happens tonight. Tonight, Thursday night is the night for pivotal games in the playoffs, both NHL and NBA.
It is, and you know, if you guys are already watching our show, take a minute after our show to tune in to some hockey and some basketball, or watch us on Tuesday and we'll tell you what happened.
We will definitely tell you what happened. Upcoming games, Game 7, Miami and Toronto takes place on Friday. Who will move on to take on LeBron James, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and the rest of the Cleveland Cavaliers? Will it be Miami? Will we get a Wade-LeBron matchup? We'll see. In more NBA news, this time a little bit more on the awards tip. Steph Curry, you know him, you may have heard of him. He's the guy who my buddy Maynard Cowan says can shoot real good. He just won his 2nd consecutive MVP award. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 2 MVP awards won in a row. Look, that's not new. A few players have done that. But what has never been done before in the world of sports, or at least in the world of the NBA, he won a unanimous MVP. Think about that. Every person, 118 votes for the MVP, most valuable player, decided to put him as first on their ballot. I'm talking about Michael Jordan didn't do it. Magic Johnson didn't do it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't do it. Charles Barkley didn't do it. Wilt Chamberlain didn't do it. Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, the list goes on and on and on. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back with a vengeance. Steph Curry is the man.
I think he is absolutely the man. I could not say enough about how important I think Steph Curry has been to Golden State. He is a complete and total asset for them, and I think that this unanimous vote for him to be the 2nd MVP in a row in his career is just a great mark in history.
It's a great mark in history, and it's a great lesson for younger people. Earlier, Kimberly was telling me a story about watching one of his high school games, and the commentator said that his game wasn't enough. That's right, he's back. He's back and he's here. They were saying his game was not enough to really make it to the NBA. Well, look who has the last laugh. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Led the league in scoring, 30 points a game. 7 assists a game. 4 rebounds a game. 2 steals, led the league in that. So not only could he put up 30 points on you, he was a lockdown defender as well. Shot 90% from the free throw line, 45% behind the three-point arc, with another record of 400-plus three-pointers made in the season. He broke his own record from last season. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 2 seasons, he has close to 700 three-point attempts made. Never been done in NBA history. And he also shot 50% from the field. Now look, as a swing man, a power forward, or a center shooting 50%, that's a given because they play mostly close to the rim. But you see Steph, he's shooting from all over. Pretty soon he's going to start shooting from his own bench to the other side of the floor, and he's hitting half of his shots. That is absolutely amazing, Kimberly.
It is. It's beautiful, and it marks in NBA history something that we may never really see again, or we might start to see more of. The competition that he's creating for younger athletes is intense.
That is the key. The things he's creating for younger athletes, the things that people are able, these kids out there, think about it. How many 7, 8-year-olds, both young boys and young girls, are out there trying to be Steph Curry?
Sure, and high school players, college players, anybody's trying to make a name for themselves, and seeing Steph Curry come from allegedly nothing, people telling him he wasn't going to make it, to being exactly who he is today. It's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. I can see Gino Ariema, the coach for UConn, sending a nice little recruitment letter to that 8-year-old young lady who can just shoot the lights out already.
Beautiful.
That's how he keeps winning 100-plus games every 4 years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to a little bit of Major League Baseball news. We had a nice little game going on between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Miami Marlins, and we could talk about this game. We might as well put this all on fast forward because it was not much of a game. Look at it, ladies and gentlemen. At the top of the ninth, the score is 9-2 on a pass ball. There's an insurance run for Milwaukee. Look, they had all the insurance runs they needed. This was really not much of a game. What's going on with Miami, Kimberly?
They haven't shown any dominance so far in this season. They have a little over 100 games left, I believe, in the MLB series. But if they can't show dominance this early on, will they be able to as they get further into the season?
Who knows? I mean, like the Maverick Man said on our Tuesday segments, the Baseball Rundown with Mav, it's all about pitching. We know that the Miami Marlins can hit. They got Juan Carlos Stanton. They got some young players who can knock the ball out of the park. Sometimes they can put the points on the board. However, if their pitching is not holding up, you're going to see a lot more results like that. And it's not going to be that sunny in Miami. People are going to be pretty upset. So you see that Milwaukee wins 10-2. We got more coming up for you on the U Sports Report, including our commentary on the fact that the women's U.S. soccer team isn't paid as much as the men. What's up with that? Coming up on the U Sports Report.